I'm a brain specialist. Stop eating this fruit if you're over 60. It is not always bad eating habits that put your health at risk. Sometimes, the very things you believe are the healthiest are actually what bring you down. I know you have been trying hard. You gave up sugar, cut back on salt, turned away from tempting fried foods and instead reached for fruits, yogurt, and whole grain cereals. Every morning, you drink water, eat fresh fruit, and tell yourself, I am doing the right thing. But then one morning, you wake up with half your face frozen. Your hands and legs are trembling. Your mouth struggles to form words. And in those fateful few minutes, you realize everything has changed. Not because you ate too much fast food, not because you smoked or lived recklessly, but because you were doing the right thing in the wrong way. Inside a body that is aging, without you even noticing it. As a doctor who specializes in brain research, I have seen so many people just like you, going to bed feeling perfectly healthy, only to wake up in the middle of a stroke, completely unaware of what just happened. No one ever warned them that 2 bananas at 10 o'clock at night, or a bowl of grapes on an empty stomach, could be the last straw for a circulatory system that has grown fragile with age. And that is exactly what you are about to discover in today's video. Together, we are going to uncover the truth about certain fruits that may seem harmless, but when eaten the wrong way, at the wrong time, or by the wrong person, can silently increase the risk of stroke, memory loss, and even brain hemorrhage. I do not want you to stop eating fruit. I just want you to eat smarter and safer. Because when we get older, we do not have the luxury of making too many mistakes. If you truly care about your health, stay with us until the end of this video. And make sure to hit that follow button so we have the chance to walk this journey with you in the long run. And if you have ever had a memorable experience with any type of fruit, share it in the comments section, because your story might just help someone else avoid an unnecessary risk. Now, let us begin. Watermelon. The more water it has, the faster you get dehydrated. If there is one fruit that has been labeled the ultimate health hero of summer, it has to be watermelon. Cool, juicy, naturally sweet, and nearly fat-free. Sounds perfect, right? Especially for older adults. Watermelon is often the #1 choice for staying hydrated during hot days, after a walk, gardening, or even after taking diuretics. But this is one of the most common and also one of the most dangerous misunderstandings. Just because a food is full of water does not mean it helps your body stay hydrated. Sometimes, watermelon can actually dehydrate you faster and quietly push you closer to the risk of a stroke. Why does that happen? Watermelon is over 90% water, but it also contains a significant amount of natural sugar, especially glucose and fructose. When you eat a large amount of watermelon in a short time, the sugar gets absorbed incredibly fast, causing your blood glucose levels to spike. In response, your body releases insulin, activates the digestive process, and pulls water from your tissues, including your brain, into your bloodstream to handle the sugar. That is why you may feel dry mouth, even though you just ate watermelon, slightly blurry vision, a light headache, or dizziness, mild tension in your forehead or the back of your neck. You might assume it is because of the heat or fatigue, but in reality, your brain is losing water, and that directly affects the pressure inside your brain's blood vessels. For those with fragile blood vessels, fluctuating blood pressure, or a history of stroke, this kind of mild dehydration in brain tissues can lead to transient ischemic attacks, also known as TIAs, formation of small blood clots, electrolyte imbalances and irregular heart rhythms. One of my patients, Mr. Joseph, 68 years old, was very health conscious. Every morning, he would eat a large bowl of watermelon after taking his diuretic medication for mild heart failure. A few weeks later, he began having headaches and felt dizzy when standing up. One afternoon, he collapsed while watering his garden. He had suffered a TIA, a mild stroke, due to cellular dehydration and electrolyte imbalance, caused mainly by the combination of his medication and too much watermelon. So how can you eat watermelon safely? Limit your intake to about 150 grams, which is roughly 5.3 ounces, per serving, no more than twice a day. Do not eat it when you are extremely hungry or right after taking diuretics. Always pair it with a light source of protein or a pinch of mineral salt to help stabilize your electrolytes. If you have a history of low blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, or are taking blood thinners. Talk to your doctor before making watermelon a regular part of your diet. If you have ever felt lightheaded even after a full meal, or thought watermelon would quench your thirst but still felt thirsty afterwards, then you were absolutely right. Leave a comment with the number 1 if you have had a similar experience. And if you are finding this information helpful, make sure to follow the channel, because the next segment will challenge everything you thought you knew about a familiar fruit that is praised everywhere for being healthy but may actually increase your stroke risk in ways you never expected. Bananas. When an innocent fruit can trick your heart. You have probably heard this 100 times. Bananas are good for your heart. They are soft, easy to digest, rich in potassium, and carry that healthy label at nearly every grocery store. But if you are over 60, here is something you may have never been told. A single banana can put dangerous pressure on your heart and blood vessels, especially when combined with medication for high blood pressure or weakened kidney function. You heard that right. Bananas are high in potassium, which is usually considered a good thing. But as you age, things change. Your kidneys no longer work like they did in your 30s or 40s. And that slows down how your body processes potassium. If you are taking medications like diuretics or common heart drugs, the potassium from just one banana may flood your system too quickly. This can lead to irregular heartbeat, high blood pressure, and even trigger the formation of blood clots. One of my patients experienced exactly this. Mrs. Isabella, 63 years old, was a retired seamstress. Every evening, after taking her blood pressure medication, she would eat a perfectly ripe banana. It seemed like a healthy habit. Until one day, her husband found her collapsed in the living room. The right side of her body was unresponsive, and her speech was slurred and broken. At the hospital, doctors diagnosed her with a mild stroke that carried serious hidden risks. The cause was an imbalance in potassium levels, which disrupted her heart's rhythm and led to clot formation. The medication was not the problem. It was the combination of the medicine, the banana, and the timing that created a silent storm in her body. This is something almost no one tells older adults. You do not need that much potassium, and eating 2 or 3 bananas a day, especially in the evening, may disrupt your system more than it helps. In the evening, when blood circulation slows down, your body becomes mildly dehydrated, and medications are still in effect. Bananas stop being a harmless snack. They can cause your blood vessels to tighten, your blood to become stickier, and increase your risk of forming clots, especially in the brain. So how should people over 60 eat bananas? You should stick to just half a banana per day. Ideally in the morning. Always eat it with nuts or yogurt or butter to slow down absorption. Avoid banana smoothies or banana bread, because those contain far too much potassium for your body. And always remember, never eat bananas right before bed. If you are taking heart medication, consult your doctor for personalized advice. And if this surprised you, just wait until you hear about grapes. Those tiny, sweet fruits may create a blood sugar storm in your brain without you even realizing it. Grapes, sweet enough to be dangerous? Imagine something that looks completely harmless. A bunch of grapes, small, juicy, lightly sweet, and incredibly convenient. A perfect little snack while watching TV or reading the morning news. But if you are over 60 and have issues with blood sugar, blood pressure, or circulation, grapes could be the hidden factor silently raising your risk of stroke without you even realizing it. You see, grapes are not just fruit. They are pure sugar wrapped in a thin skin. Just a small bunch, especially those seedless, extra sweet varieties you often find in stores, can send a surge of glucose and fructose straight into your bloodstream. In younger people, the body reacts and handles it well. But in older adults, the body processes sugar more slowly. Insulin responses are weaker, and blood vessels are more fragile. When your blood sugar spikes, the vessel walls become irritated and inflamed, making them constrict and stiffen over time. Tiny injuries start to form inside those vessels, especially in the brain, where clots often begin to develop. You will not notice it right away. You will not feel anything unusual after your first few snacks. But week after week, month after month, your body is quietly stacking up the risk. Until one day, it all erupts. I still remember Mr. James, 77 years old. a retired civil engineer. He followed a natural diet, avoided sodas and canned foods, and firmly believed grapes were a healthy snack. Every day, he would enjoy a bowl of red grapes while listening to music to relax. Then one day, it all happened in a flash. He was writing Christmas cards for his grandchildren when his hand started to tremble. His vision blurred, and he could no longer finish a sentence. At the hospital, doctors diagnosed him with a transient ischemic attack, a warning sign of a more serious stroke to come. Tests showed that his blood sugar had spiked, and there were early signs of diabetes. The main cause? That familiar bowl of grapes he ate every day, without any fiber or protein to slow the sugar down. So how should people over 60 eat grapes? Never eat them on an empty stomach. Always pair them with protein or healthy fat, like almonds, low-fat cheese, or yogurt, and limit your intake to about 10 to 12 small grapes per day. Because no matter how small or sweet they may seem, grapes can still lead to serious consequences if eaten the wrong way or at the wrong time. If you found this part helpful, leave a comment with the number 2 so I know you are still with us. In the next segment, we are going to talk about a fruit that often shows up in your morning smoothies or fancy dinner plates. It looks pretty, tastes sweet, but is among the most pesticide-contaminated fruits in the United States. For older adults, those chemicals do not just wash off. They build up and, over time, quietly damage the blood vessels in your brain. Let us talk about strawberries, and what you have never been warned about. Strawberries. Small, sweet, and full of hidden risks. Strawberries have an irresistible image. Bright red, lightly fragrant, cute and charming, like a symbol of youth and good health. And yes, they look perfect. Many older adults choose strawberries as a smart snack. They are low in calories, high in vitamin C, and easy to pair with yogurt or oatmeal. But what you cannot see with the naked eye is what you should be worried about. You may not know this, but strawberries are among the most pesticide-contaminated fruits in the United States. Because of their soft, juicy surface, strawberries absorb more chemicals and are harder to wash clean. And those chemicals do not just sit on the outside. They seep into the fruit itself. Younger bodies, with healthy livers and kidneys, can handle some of that load. But for those over 60, especially if you already have liver or kidney problems or are on long-term medication, those chemical residues can weaken your body's ability to filter toxins, interact negatively with your medications, trigger low-grade inflammation in your blood vessels and central nervous system. And that is not all. Strawberries are highly prone to mold. The most dangerous part is that the mold is often invisible to the naked eye. Many people keep strawberries in the fridge for a few days. They still look fresh, but in reality, mold spores may have already developed. When eaten, those spores can trigger systemic inflammation and increase the risk of joint pain, especially in those with a history of gout, immune system dysfunction, toxin buildup in small blood vessels, especially in the brain and heart. Strawberries also contain compounds that can indirectly trigger gout flare-ups in some older adults. If you have ever eaten strawberries and then felt pain in your big toe, ankle joint, or mild aching in your knees a few hours later, you may be experiencing an early warning sign of inflammatory response. I once spoke with Mr. Frank, 68 years old, a retired banker. He had replaced cakes and pastries with strawberries for dessert, which sounded like a great idea on paper. But after a few weeks, he started having joint pain in his fingers and trouble sleeping due to a slight tingling sensation. At first, he blamed it on aging, but after cutting out strawberries and getting checked, he discovered he was sensitive to mold and chemical residue. That hidden inflammation was the real cause of his symptoms. If you still love strawberries, here is the smart way to eat them. Choose organic strawberries whenever possible, especially if you eat them regularly. Do not store strawberries for more than 24 hours after buying them. And always inspect each one carefully. Soak and rinse them in a mixture of diluted saltwater and apple cider vinegar for at least 10 minutes. Only eat 3 to 5 strawberries at a time. Never eat an entire small box in one sitting. And if you have a history of gout, joint inflammation, or take immune suppressants, talk to your doctor first. If you have ever felt mild joint pain after eating fruit, share your story in the comments. We read every comment and improve our content based on real experiences from the community. Next, you will not believe what you are about to hear. A tropical fruit that is often praised as the perfect dessert for digestion might actually cause brain bleeding in your sleep. We are going to talk about pineapple and the dangerous trio hiding inside it: sugar, acid, and a mysterious enzyme. Pineapple. When a sweet and sour taste hides danger for your brain. Let us be honest, have you ever felt a slight burning sensation in your mouth after eating pineapple? That tingling sweet and sour flavor may seem pleasant, but for anyone over the age of 60, it might actually be a sign of a biological reaction getting out of control. Pineapple has long been praised as a tropical fruit that is good for digestion, anti-inflammatory, and helps with protein absorption. That is why so many older adults include it in their weekly diet. Whether as dessert, in smoothies, or in fruit salads. But here is something few people talk about. Pineapple is one of the most acidic fruits, and it also contains a fairly high amount of fructose. And when those two elements, sugar and acid, come together, what happens? First, the acid in pineapple irritates the lining of your stomach and intestines. This can either cause your medications to be absorbed too quickly, too strongly, or it can interfere with the steady absorption of blood pressure drugs, heart medications, and blood thinners. Second, the high sugar content causes blood glucose levels to rise rapidly. If eaten at night or on an empty stomach, it creates a double attack on your brain's blood vessels. It makes your blood thicker and damages the vessel walls. That is when blood clots begin to form. Just one pineapple, eaten at the wrong time, when your body is tired, on medication, or slightly dehydrated, can disrupt an already fragile circulatory system due to aging. One of my patients, Charlotte, 82 years old, a disciplined former Navy service member, followed a very clean and balanced diet. One evening, after having grilled fish and a fruit salad that included pineapple, she took her blood pressure medication as usual and went to bed. In the middle of the night, she woke up with a severe headache, dizziness, and nausea. At the hospital, doctors confirmed she had suffered a mild hemorrhagic stroke. It was not due to a sudden spike in blood pressure. It was caused by the interaction between the pineapple, the medication, and her weakened blood vessels. So if you still enjoy pineapple, how can you eat it safely? Only eat 1 or 2 small slices at a time. Never eat it on an empty stomach. Do not combine pineapple with medication. Avoid eating it right before or after taking heart, blood pressure, or anticoagulant drugs. If you have ever experienced acid reflux, stomach ulcers, or are taking aspirin, it is best to pause pineapple and ask your doctor for advice. If you have ever felt a burning mouth, rapid heartbeat, or lightheadedness after eating pineapple, share your experience in the comments. You are definitely not alone. You know, all our lives we have been taught that fruit is good for us, that it is natural medicine, something that could never cause harm. But as we grow older, our bodies are not what they used to be. What was once healthy at the age of 30 can become a burden at 60 or 70. And the sad truth is, very few people ever tell us that. You might be thinking, but I only eat 1 banana a day. Or, what harm could strawberries possibly do? But when you are on blood pressure medication, when your kidneys are not working as efficiently, when the blood vessels in your brain have weakened over the years, those small and seemingly harmless foods can lead to very big consequences. Not instantly, but slowly, day after day, until one day you notice it through a wave of dizziness, a moment of slurred speech, or a morning where your body no longer feels like your own. I am not sharing this to scare you. I am sharing this so you can be more aware, because you deserve to live your golden years with clarity, with strength, and with peace of mind, not in fear or dependence. The good news is, you do not have to give up fruit. You just need to understand what you are eating, when to eat it, and what your body really needs at this stage of life. Just a few small changes, like eating earlier in the day, pairing fruit with a little protein, or talking to your doctor if you are on medication, can make a world of difference. You are no longer eating just to survive. You are eating to stay strong, to keep remembering, to keep being yourself, and you can absolutely do that, starting today, with knowledge, intention, and a little more love for your body. If you found these insights helpful, Make sure to follow the channel. Every week, we will bring you more practical, relatable topics that can help you live healthier and happier each day. And leave us a comment below to share your thoughts on this video. Even one line is enough to inspire us to keep creating content for you. It is never too late to take care of yourself. Wishing you and your loved ones a life of health, happiness, and joyful living every single day.